Good afternoon and welcome to Museo's online Lunch and Learn. I am Carol Latham, the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Muzeo Museum and Cultural Center in Anaheim. And it is our wish that you and your family and circle of concern are all safe and healthy. And we want to wish you all the best for this new year. The Museo is a cultural and community hub with the mission to engage the community in exploring and celebrating our diverse heritage, culture, and the arts. And we do this through a myriad of programs like this, creative events, as well as exhibits. And we really appreciate you taking the time today to join us. This presentation will be recorded and available for viewing on our website and on Facebook Live. Please use the chat if you have questions and comments, and we'll do our best to respond to them before the end of the presentation. Today's presenter is a financial professional, Ana Del Arenal. Ana has over 4 years of experience in tax finance and it's my pleasure to introduce her today to share her knowledge and her experience on financial planning. Welcome, Ana.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to the Museo for always supporting the arts and also being a beacon to the community, and I am very happy to be here, very honored. And yes, like Carol mentioned, my name is Ana Del Arenal, and I am a native of Anaheim. So I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. This is going to be an informative workshop, basically about finances and basics, financial concepts. So my background is in accounting. So I have worked with CPAs, and I have worked with attorneys, and preparing taxes. I learned a little bit about finances, but it wasn't enough for me. So I wanted to learn more, and I searched for different companies, to see what gave me the best learning experience and opportunity, to find out more about finances. So my ultimate goal is to become a broker and have my own brokerage, and that way I can help my community as well. So my knowledge in finances is based on financial concepts that everybody should know. So by me sharing my knowledge, I hope that everybody will make better financial decisions. After my divorce, I was left with the responsibility to provide for my 3 daughters. So I always ask that question: what would happen to them once I'm no longer here? What would be? How would they survive? Where would they go? And I didn't want to, of course, leave that responsibility to my family, to my mother, who's already older, already had her own responsibilities. So I looked for a plan that was gonna be suitable for me and for my needs, and that will help leave something like a legacy for my children, and that they will be able to coexist, survive, and they won't have to go and be uprooted or be having to be a burden to others. So looking for that, I found what I needed, and it gave me the peace of mind and the satisfaction to leave a legacy instead of leaving bills and debt for my children. So I made it my mission to help and protect families the same way, by creating financial plans and vehicles that are suitable for their needs. So I was asked a question, what's the difference between a financial advisor and a financial planner? So the financial advisor refers to anyone who helps clients manage their money. And the other hand, the financial planner specifically focus on building financial plans to help clients reach their ultimate financial goals. So they both require a license with the state of California. They both are regulated by FINRA, and the advisor requires a security license as well. So I will share with you guys my knowledge, and as you can see, this is my lovely family, my 3 daughters, and let's continue. You can see my screen, right? Okay. So my main objective is to educate you in basic financial concepts, reduce your expenses, and create a roadmap that will help you with your finances. Kind of like a GPS, if you may, if you think, if you want to think about it that way. A GPS will tell you where you are and where you want to go. So this is kind of the same concept. We'll find out where you are financially right now and where you want to go. Okay, so set up goals and create a plan. And there's rules for everything. As we know, there's rules for everything in life, but there's also rules for money. And it's kind of like when you're playing a board game, and in the board game, if you don't know the rules of the game, you probably will lose. So same thing with money. There's rules for the money, and if you don't know the rules, you might lose money, right? So this is a very simple rule. It's called the rule of 72. This rule was created by Albert Einstein, a very knowledgeable and famous person, and he created this rule to show you how compound interests work. And in this example, we can see if you have your money at 1%, which is like if you leave it in the bank, which we know they give you probably less than 1%. But if you leave it there in the bank and you don't touch it at all, in 72 years, your money will double. But tell me, who has 72 years to spare right now, right? So it takes a long time for your money to double. But in the next column, if you put it at 4%, that will give you it will give you in 18 years your money will double. And subsequently with 6%, it will double in 12 years. And if you find a vehicle that will give you 10%, your money will double in 7.2 years. So this is how it works, and these are simple rules of the money. And also that works for your credit cards. If you know your percentage and how much you're putting in your credit card, you will see when would you be able to finish paying these credit cards. So if you just start putting the minimum, it's gonna take you a lot longer to finish, right? So if you have any questions, you can save them towards the end, and of course, I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. Okay, so this is how we get taxed. Okay, working for as a tax preparer and also working with CPAs, I saw how people get impacted with taxes. Corporations also get taxed heavily, and taxes is something that we cannot avoid, right? Of course, we do get services, from our taxes, but this is how we get taxed. The first column is tax now, so something that you get taxed right now. It could be a savings account, it could be certificate of deposits, it could be CDs, anything that is taxed right now, it would be on that column. Taxed later would be something like a 401k, an IRA, and fixed annuities and savings bonds. So any of those are going to be taxed later. So we don't know right now. We know how much we get taxed, but later we don't know. The taxes could be higher. And then there's tax advantage, and this is something new that I learned. Tax advantage could be a Roth IRA, it could be a cash accumulation, and in an insurance policy. So these are things that people don't know and might not understand, but they're simple concepts that anybody can take advantage of. Okay, and this is how money grows. Money doesn't grow on trees, like we were told. So money grows in different ways, and three different ways actually. So the first way is the fixed, which is if you see it, it doesn't move. It's just a line. Um, that could be like when you put your money in the bank. It doesn't grow. It doesn't grow in a way that whatever you put in there, that's gonna stay. And the second column is the variable. Variable kind of looks like a heart attack, so we don't really want to see that. But variable is constantly fluctuating. Like the market is constantly moving up and down, and it's risky because we don't know what's gonna happen. It could be up today, and then it could fall down tomorrow. And as we've seen before, whenever there's a recession, like it was back in 2008, there was a heavy drop of the market, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So we don't anticipate that, but we see that it could be possible. So there's ways to protect your money, and then there come out with the index. The index strategy is something that they created to protect the losses. So it's like a marriage. If those two were married, they will have the index, which give you the participation on the market. So as the market goes up, your money goes up, and when the market takes a fall, your money will stay. And that's why it has a little lock. It will be locked. So you are guaranteed to have your principal. You will never lose your principal, and your money could still participate in the economy and in the SP 500. So that's another way how we can do investments. We Okay, I want to give you this example. This is an example of somebody saving. This is how important time is. So if you start saving now, and let's say you're person A, you're 30 years old, you start saving now at age 30, and you put $2,500. In 25 years, you will have $62,500. But if you wait later, like 10 years later, like person B, it could be a mother, that waited and stayed with her children, and then she started later on to start saving. So in 25 years, she will have, that's 10 years later, she will have the 62,500. But the person A, when he reached the age 55, he can stop investing, and he will land up with a total accumulation of $204,074. So that will be, his total accumulation once he stopped working. Perhaps, he retired at age 65. But the person B, if they retire at age 65, they will only land up with $125,284 because they started later, later in life. So that's why it's important, to start as soon as you can, because time it's valuable, right? So this is a phrase that we use, very common. Is most people don't plan to fail; they just fail to plan, and that's a fact. So I also wanted to share with you guys. I know this is the beginning of the year, so it's important that we have a clear vision, for the new year. And one thing that always helps me is to create my own vision board. A vision board is something that you guys can make at home, and in your own spare time, and you can make it as big as you want, or as or you can use clips from a magazine, or you can use pictures. You get your creative side, to work. But most people are visual learners. So when you put a target in front of you, it's easier to hit it because you can see it clearly, right? So it's the same thing with life. You have to have a clear vision of what you want, and you have to declare it, out loud, to see what is it that you want out of life. It's good to inspire others, because when you're inspiring others, you're actually inspiring yourself as well. So have a grateful heart. That's something that it's always good to have a grateful heart, and a giving heart. I always say it's better to give than to receive. Of course, I love gifts, but when I give, it just gives me a different satisfaction. I give of my knowledge, I give of my time, I give of any talents that I have. It just gives you a different satisfaction. So when you create your vision board, make sure that it has all those facts, everything that you want, and positive affirmations. Positive affirmations help you with creating a good positive outcome of what you want. And definitely, plan ahead, and you can apply for your retirement, and of course I can help you with that. If you're not ready to retire, but you're in the age, when you want to start planning. Right now, your retirement, any time is a good time, but the earlier the better, of course. And also leaving a legacy. We want to leave a legacy for our family. If we want to leave something for our loved ones, we can always start a will and testament, which I also have access to do that. Will is a legal binding contract. Is legal in all states, and every court will also abide to that as well. So we have also final expenses. If you're thinking about leaving your love, if you want to leave without leaving any debt behind, and without leaving bills, for your family to pay for your funeral. So there is this plans, which final expenses, which covers everything that is in a funeral. Plus they also come with a concierge. A concierge is a person that takes care of everything, including flowers, everything. So your family doesn't have to, have a burden of that, having to deal with this process while they're grieving. So I have access to all these companies, and that will give you the best solutions. If you have any questions, of course, I can help you with that as well. It's very easy, create a will or testament. And of course, if you have properties, there's also estate planning. So for that, we can refer you as well. So we can create a plan that is suitable for your financial needs, and in a vehicle that is right for you. So there's I don't know if I went a little fast. If they have any questions, if you have, we can answer them at this time. And here is my information if anybody wants to reach out to me.
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
You mentioned about the difference between a planner and an advisor. But I'm wondering, are investments the only way that you need a planner for?
No, not necessarily. You can do a plan for just start a savings plan, or you can start a college fund. If you have a child that it's gonna be going to college, they can create a plan that is gonna it's gonna compound some interest for him to have some money for later on when he's ready to go to college, and then as opposed to an education plan, an education program, it doesn't have to be just for education. So if your child doesn't want to go to school or university, they can always use the money to start a business, or they can use the money to get their first car, or give a down payment on their first house. It's just it can be for anything. You can start a plan for anything. It doesn't have to be an investing plan.
So you don't have to have a minimum amount in order to hire or have a financial planner?
No, there's no minimum. Of course, you're gonna get what you put into it. So
Mhm.
if you put an amount that is gonna be comfortable for you, that amount can always increase. You can always increase it as you go. But there is no minimum.
Okay. So how does a planner communicate with their clients? Um, no, it's almost impossible. And I see the building behind you where you used to have your office. Now everything is being done virtually.
Yes.
So how are you, what are the ways in which you communicate with your client, and how often does that happen to make sure that everything that they're expecting is taken care of and there are no surprises, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, right now everything is virtual, to keep everybody safe. We still have access to a one-on-one, if with social distancing. But if you want to be feeling safe and comfortable, we can do Zoom appointments. We can also do video calls. We can also just do a phone call. It doesn't have to be person to person,
Mhm.
if the person doesn't feel comfortable.
So
Yeah.
you are pretty much in touch with your clients on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis?
Yes, depends the case. But we try to do a review once a year. Once a
Mhm.
year it's the norm, because once every year laws changes and products get updated as well. So we want to make sure that our clients have what is best for them, and what is suitable for their needs. So once a year is fine, but also we reach out to them on holidays. Making sure that they are properly protected. If there's any change in their life, yeah, like per se, like they got married or they got divorced, things tend to change, and then that might affect their finances as well.
Oh, I see. Okay. Um, Another question that came up is, how do you, as a financial planner or advisor, get paid by the client? How is, and what's the structure of that like?
We're basically commission based, so we always accept referrals, and we don't get paid directly from the client. We get paid through the company.
Mhm.
So you guys, we don't have to exchange any kind of monetary compensation. So and then we offer our service for a consultation for free, so that the person is they know ahead what is that they're gonna be suitable for.
I see. Um, so are, as a planner, are you the fiduciary for the recommendations you give to your clients? How does that work?
We base that case by case. So we can always we can discuss what their needs are, because your needs might be different from your neighbor's needs.
Mhm.
So it's private, but we always look for something that is suitable for them and that is comfortable for them.
Mhm. Um, you mentioned earlier
Mhm.
that you like referrals. So what would be your ideal client? Who would be your ideal client, I guess is the better question.
Yes, yes. Yeah, our ideal client is somebody that is between. um, 25 and up. Uh,
Mhm.
but we definitely we don't say no to we don't deny service. We help everybody, but preferably somebody that's 25 to 65 years of age, that they're married, they have children, they're on their own home, and they have a solid career background, and
Mhm.
yeah, and that they're ambitious. Because if they want to invest, they have to be a little bit ambitious, right?
So, with that guideline, someone who is maybe in their 60s looking at retirement, and they haven't done any real financial planning in the past, you would not be in a position to be of service to them, or would you have to refer them to someone else? How would that work?
Yeah, it's all based on yeah, every case is different, but definitely we don't turn them away. And yeah, if we cannot help them, we will always refer them to somebody that can help them. But it's if it's not for them, we will also let them know, and they could always have somebody, they can also they have somebody in their family that will be able to help as well. Mhm.
So, what happens to clients and their business if you leave the company, or any planner leaves the company that they work with? Maybe they start their own business, or they retire, or they go out of business. What happens to the client who is now left
Yeah.
in that situation?
Yes, it does happen. The business will stay with the broker, or the dealer in this case, and the client will be assigned a different advisor.
Mhm.
Um, but we look for very solid companies, so more than likely the company will stay. These are companies that have been around for many, many years.
Okay. Um, I'm just wondering if there is anyone in the audience that who might have an additional question. But while they're thinking of it, I'm going to ask, what additional costs may be incurred by the client from a planner or advisor, other than the initial commission for work?
Well, there's no other cost for my services. My services are free, so we do require clients to give us referrals, because that's how we based our, by referrals. And of course, if I did a good job, more likely they will refer me to their friends and family. We don't advertise with is something that is based on trust. So if and finances is something that people don't want to, you know, most likely talk about, because it's a very private, so it will usually be a private session between the couple, of the husband and wife, um, and it will be totally confidential as well. So yeah, but definitely no money exchange, between us.
Okay. So, how are any financial performances measured to determine whether they are on the right path or not?
There depends on the vehicle that we put them, but they measure, if they do investments, is based on the average, how the market
Mhm.
goes.
Okay. Um, you mentioned earlier some of the additional financial services that you offer. Would you review those again? That we had a couple of people who hopped on a little bit later and may have missed some of this. So if you wouldn't mind reviewing that again.
Yes, yes, for sure. We talk about legacy planning. We talk about final expenses. Final expenses is something that we provide um, for but like it says, is named for final expenses for funeral costs. So let's say the family is left with all the funeral costs. With this plan, it comes with a concierge that allows them to take care of everything for the family. They take care of everything, like from the flowers and music that they will be playing, pictures that they will be putting in a slideshow. Everything is going to be taken care of by them, so that the family doesn't have to be, disturbed and be bothered with things like that. They will also negotiate the funeral expenses with the funeral homes. With We know that at times they can take advantage of families because they're going through that, through
Mhm.
the grieving process, and they're not really paying attention of the, of the facts. But this company offers all that, and it's a very solid company that we use for these services. And they also we also can offer a will and testament, which we know a will is a legal binding contract that will respect your last wishes and
Mhm.
everything that you want to put down there. You know how you want money to be distributed, or if you wanna if you have multiple children, where are your last wishes? Your also where you wanna have your final resting place, anything that you want to leave in that document,
Mhm.
it will be there. If you have properties and stuff like that, uh, uh, um, that will be through the state, so that would be a different process.
Mhm. And so things like living trusts and living wills would be part of that program. Oh,
Right, that would be
okay,
for that.
interesting. Um, Again, for some of the folks
If
who are,
you could go over it a little
yeah,
again.
there you went through some of the very beginning a little quickly, so I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind. I think it's your second and third slide. You were talking about the rule of 72, and then so maybe if you could just
Mhm.
have another little go at both of those slides. I thought they were rather important. In fact, I took a screenshot.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Let me go back to that. So, um, okay, what happened? Okay, here. Okay, so here it is. That was my introduction, and this is the rule of 72. So like I mentioned, for anything in life, there's rules, and there's rules for money too. And this rule in particular will show you how interest, are compound. And in the example that I was giving you, at a 1%, that's like if you put your money in the bank. If you leave your money in the bank, it will not be growing more than 1%. So you have to wait 72 years for your money to double. And like I said, who has 72 years to spare right now to be
Mhm.
waiting on your money to grow, to double? So the second column mentions 4%. So if you find a vehicle that gives you a 4%, in 18 years, your money will double. And then subsequently, like if you find a vehicle for 6% in 12 years, and if you find a vehicle that is 10% in 7.2 years, your money will double. So that gives you an idea um, how it works. And this is also known as the banker's rule. It's a rule that the banks know, and then they use to their advantage. So we wanna, we wanna know this rule so we can use it to our advantage. So that's why it's important. And if you know how to use it, then then you will get the interest.
Mhm.
There's another slide that I mentioned. This is how we get taxed. So in the first column, you can see tax now. That will be anything to do with saving accounts, certificate of deposit, also known as CDs. That those are taxed right now. And then tax later would be anything to do with like 401ks, IRAs, fixed annuities, and saving bonds. So we don't know what the taxes will be later. We know right now how much are taxes, but in the future, nobody knows. But more than likely, they're probably going to be high. So, and then the third column is tax advantage, which is um, it's something that I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with, but in that it includes the Roth IRAs and cash accumulation through a insurance policy. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, and that they can take advantage of that. And
Does it matter what the insurance policy is?
well,
What kind of policy, I mean?
it has to be a policy that has cash accumulation, or um, that builds cash in itself.
Mhm.
It can be just any, like a term policy. We know that it will end at a term, so there won't be no accumulation of cash on that. And yeah, it will have to be a whole life. and
Okay.
yeah, we have all the different um, uh, types of insurance, but definitely for this one will have to be one that has like a cash accumulation within. Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions about this slide?
No, that was good. Yeah.
Okay. And the next slide, I was telling you guys how money grows, and of course we know that it doesn't grow on trees, like that we've been told. So the first one will be fixed, which is if you put your money, like I say, in the bank, and it doesn't grow, it doesn't move, right? It stays the same, because as long as you don't take it out, it will stay the same. And then the next one will be the variable, which is constantly changing, constantly moving up and down. So it's kind of like a gamble. You don't know where it's gonna be, and it's risky, and it's unstable. But some people like it. With There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's how money grows. Like you could win a lot, but you can also lose a lot. And as we know right now, our economy is not very stable. Ever since the pandemic happened, um, people have lost a lot of money, and having it on those accounts, like the 401k, which we know is attached to the SP 500, to the market. They don't know that they have even lost money, because they're not either monitoring their money close enough, and they just have an idea of how much they have. But if they know that there was a drop in the market, they know for sure that they had lost some money. And in order to recover, most people try to recover and stay in the market to recover, but it's like a gamble. So we don't know. Like it could happen, it could recover, but then again, it could fall again. So that's
So,
what.
Anna, with the variable, as a financial planner, are you then in touch with your client and monitoring some of those variables, spikes in what's happening with their money, or is that just let it roll?
Well, I as a planner, I cannot advise my clients, to do certain money moves, like an advisor would. But because I don't have the credit, the licensing for that. But we do monitor, how the market is, and we check on this, on these accounts. And if your account is not performing at the average of what the market is right now, we will let you know. Let's say the market is right now at 25%, but if your account that you have right now could be like a 401k is performing less than that, it's probably not a good vehicle to keep your money in. So we always recommend our clients, to look for something that is suitable for them, for their needs. If they want to continue in that variable, it's fine, as long as that they know what the risks are, and if they, and if they want to leave it there, there's gonna be some risk involved, but they're already fully
Mhm.
aware of what the
Okay,
outcome will be.
okay,
So
thank
we
you.
always try to do the best that is in the best interest, of our client, and we will recommend different vehicles, and they will make the final decision what it is that they want to put their money in. Some people like I said, they like the risk, so they like in particular the variable, but some people don't like so much risk, and right now, at this time in particular, they want to make sure they have some kind of a stability in their finances, so they will probably opt for the index, which is more of a stable, and you will have any losses, so you're guaranteed to always have your principal. So there's something that we always let our clients know. This is what we have. We can offer all three of them, but of course they will make the final decision at the end.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions, comments?
I think
Uh,
that one was
look
pretty
that
self-explanatory. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went a little fast. I probably should pace myself a little. But yeah,
No.
basically, yeah, we do want our clients to know what their options are, and they can make their financial decisions, so that way they can prepare,
Mm-hmm.
and of course all this is based on the client's suitability. Um, there's there's um, uh, there's going to be a blood test involved, to know where they are in health wise, but definitely it's something that you can use to prevent, and to protect your loved ones. Once you're no longer here in this planet, you can have that peace of mind, that you left a legacy, and you left something, not just bills, not just debt. So it's important that we also offer debt consolidation for some of our clients if they're have a lot of debt with credit cards, or what have you. So that's also another way to get out of debt. Um, we will refer them to somebody that could help them manage their debt if it's more than $15,000. So if
Mm-hmm.
it's less than that, it's usually not recommended.
Okay. Well, this has been really informative, and I appreciate you going back and reviewing some of the slides that you did in the beginning, because um, I know I missed a couple of things on a few of on a couple of the slides. So I really appreciate you going back and doing that. And I love the idea of a vision board. I do one myself. Um, and it's interesting that yours shows a lot of words, and my main one has a lot of words on it. And then I have another one, which is, photos and some of those other things. But you, as you were saying earlier, that, if we don't know, if we don't have a plan,
Hmm.
then we're kind of failing ourselves
We don't know where we're
because we
going.
don't know where we're going. So I really like the idea of you incorporating the vision plan as part of a financial plan, because we all want to be financially secure in one way or another, whether you just want to have an extra $200 in your bank account each month, or you want to have a lot more at the end of the year. So I really appreciate this.
Yeah,
And I don't see any other questions in the chat.
yeah.
So
I just
was
wanted
there any last minute things you wanted to say?
I just wanted to touch a little more on this. Once you create your vision board, make sure that it has, words of affirmation. Because words of affirmation will help you, will give you that positive outcome. Like you say, you on yours you have words. I also have pictures. Actually, I have two, one for my business and one for my family. So it's important that you put the words of affirmation, of what you want out of your life, and then positive affirmations will also give you that confidence,
Mhm.
and definitely you're gonna need to set up a plan to see where you're gonna accomplish, how you're gonna accomplish these things, everything that
Yeah.
you want out of life.
Do
So
you do your daughters have their own vision boards?
yes, they actually help me with mine, and they love to do it. We also have these things that we do every year on New Year's. We write down our wishes, or what we want to happen for the next year, and my mom usually give us like little red papers, to write them down, and then we put them in this box, and we open them the next year, and then we see how many of those things really came to pass. And it's funny, but I have seen so many of mine come to pass over the years.
Yeah,
And
if
yeah.
that's really great when that happens, when you see something that you visualized and you've written down, and maybe you look at it every day or every other day, and then to see it happen. There is one question that just came up,
Mhm.
and it's, if someone has a 401k at a previous job, what
Mhm.
should they do with it?
Oh, yeah, it's a very good question. 401ks, they are usually because you work at a company an amount of years and you have built up some some amount of money there. So there's some companies that allow you to move that money outside of their company. Is called in-service distribution. But some companies, you have to wait until you leave that company in order to move the money. Or that there's also rules for that. There's that the 7.5 rule, that you had to wait, um, first is the 65.5 rule. You had to wait until you're 65.5 to move the money without penalty, because if you move it before that, there will be penalties to pay, and those penalties could be pretty high, could be between 20 to 30%. So we
Wow.
don't want that to happen. So if it's suitable to be moved out, we had to see, um, we had to look at it, see where to see where the money is, and if it's able to be moved out. So yeah, we can help them with that as well. But like I said, it's individual, so it's better to do a one-on-one uh, appointment, so that we can see what is really the scenario.
Yeah. So if they have life insurance through their employer, is that sufficient as
No.
part of the,
Well,
oh, okay.
yeah, life insurance through an employer is usually a group insurance, which it could be lower in cost, but it will have a lot of clause in the policy itself, because they by doing it in a group, they're reducing the risk. So the company, will pay less for that, but they will have clause like you will have to be within the means of, you had to be at work while you pass away, or maybe in the way to work, but if you pass away at your home, that will not cover you. If you didn't pay your premium at a certain time, it will not cover you. So there's a lot of clause, and people have to be aware of those, because I had clients that had come to me, and they were thinking that they'll be covered, and their loved one passed away, and unfortunately they were not covered because
Mhm.
of certain clause.
So you're able to look at their policy and see what clauses where they're deficient and advise them in terms of what to do to make it more a more robust policy for
Yeah,
them.
and
Is that
also, I
correct?
mean, what this companies provide that insurance, so it's good to have it. It's not bad, but you should always have something extra. Something that's gonna cover you, because when you leave this workplace, you cannot. Sometimes you can take it with you, and sometimes you cannot take it with you, or it depends on the situation. So we recommend to have more coverage.
Hmm.
The more the better in this
Yeah.
case. You don't want to be left without thinking that you had enough. So yeah.
Hmm. It's so interesting. I was talking with someone today, and they had had a pipe burst under their home, and fortunately, their home is built up. But what happened with the hot water is that it then sprayed onto the under surface
Oh,
of the house itself.
mhm,
And fortunately, there was a clause in their insurance that took care of that. So, and then she found out that it's not a clause that's usually in a policy, a home policy. It
mhm.
was just one of those very strange, unexpected bonuses that she got. But you're right in terms of being aware of what the insurance is really offering and where you're deficient and how you need to prop that up in order to make sure you're covered.
Yes, make sure
Yeah.
that you cover, and yeah, make sure you read all the clause and the policy. Make sure you read the policy itself.
Hmm.
There's also something that we offer to our clients is it's a conditional receipt. So once you sign the policy, and as long as it's within the underwriting process, if something happens to you, God forbid, you will be covered. Uh,
Hmm.
we had a case where there was a person, they wanted to sit down with us, and they fill out all the information. We give them the conditional receipt, and later that afternoon was involved in a car accident.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, as long as it's under the underwriting process, the family was protected,
Hmm.
and he was covered.
Yeah.
So but I know there's other companies that don't do that. It was unfortunate, but there was a family that, and this was back in Texas, and I know most of the people that live in Texas, they work for the oil companies, and this person was new to the company, and he was in one of those tunnels, and the tunnel collapsed.
Mm.
So the family, left with the burden. The wife remembered that she had a policy, that her husband had signed up for a policy, for a insurance policy. And when she went to the HR department, or whoever she contacted with, they mentioned that he had never made the first premium,
Oh,
so he was not covered.
oh
Yeah.
boy.
So
So we have one last question
that.
about term. Oh, actually, the same person just popped up a second one about term insurance. Can it be converted to permanent insurance? And um, what happens if her application is declined due to a health issue?
That's a very good question. So term insurance, like it says, its name is through a term. So when it ends, it could be 25, 30 years later. And remind me of the question again.
She wanted to know whether it can be converted to a permanent
Yeah.
insurance.
Yes, it can always be converted before the 20 or 30-year term. It could be converted into a whole life insurance, and that's something that we call a 365 exchange. So
Okay.
yeah, it could totally be converted. So let's say right now, a lot of people opt to get term insurance because it's cheaper, most affordable. So what they do, they probably are in the position right now they can only afford that, but later on in life, they have some more money, so then they um, change it to a whole life, and they can have more benefits. Also, along with the term insurance, we have living benefits, which is something that a lot of people are looking for right now because of COVID. Some people are left with long-term effects of the um, the disease. So some people might have to have care, beyond normal care. So living benefits and long-term care can help with that. So living benefits is something that you will benefit in life, its name said.
Hmm.
If you are working, but you suffer an accident, then you cannot do five of your daily uh, um, things that you do. If you can,
Hmm.
like, eat by yourself, or you cannot walk by yourself, there's plans that will cover for that. You can borrow money from that, as long as that is something that is gonna be more than 90 days.
I see.
Yeah. So, but every plan is different. That's why it's better to sit down and see what are your needs, your financial needs, and what is best for you and your family.
Perfect. Well, thank you. This has been very informative, and we will remind everyone that the additional information on this program will be available on the Museo website, www.museo.org. And we really appreciate you telling us that you are finding these programs relevant. And there's also a little support button for the Museo if you should choose to do that. And your generosity is always appreciated. Special thank you to Berkenda in the background, who makes all the technical magic happen. And without a doubt to you, Ana. A special thank you to you, our viewing audience, for tuning in this afternoon. And on behalf of the Museo, we wish you that you stay well, stay safe, and stay healthy, and make 2021 the best year ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carol.
Thanks for joining us.